I gave my company 70 hours a week, and they repaid me with a performance plan. This is how I learned loyalty can get you fired. It's late, like really late. The kind of late where the city outside your office window looks like a glittering, indifferent beast, and the only sound is the hum of the fluorescent lights and your own frantic typing. That was my life, every night, for months. My name's Amanda, and I used to believe that hard work always paid off, that loyalty meant something, that if you sacrificed enough, dedicated yourself completely, you'd be rewarded. Yeah, well, I learned a pretty harsh lesson. See, I was a project manager at this small consulting firm. 18 people. Sound cozy, right? Like a family. I'd been there 4 years, and I was, by all accounts, a high performer. My big moment? A massive product rollout. And I mean massive. It consumed me. For months, I was clocking 70 hours a week. Weekends? What were those? My social life became a myth. Sleep? A distant, fond memory. My team and I practically lived in that office, fueled by lukewarm coffee and the sheer will to get this thing done. And we did it. We actually did it, on time, under budget, despite 1,000 curveballs, like the server crash on launch eve and the last-minute regulatory change. It was a triumph. I felt invincible. I truly believed this was it, my golden ticket. A well-deserved promotion, a significant raise, and finally, a chance to reclaim some semblance of a normal life. I even started looking at new apartments, daydreaming about decorating them. I was ready to celebrate. But you know how they say pride comes before a fall? Mine arrived with a corporate smile and a subtle, insidious whisper. A new VP joined, Sarah. Sleek, polished, and completely detached from the trenches we'd been fighting in. She just saw the shiny, finished product. Good, right? Except she also started hearing things. Vague, nebulous accusations floating around. Amanda's a poor communicator. She's not a leader. No specifics, just feelings. Like a cloud of bad juju suddenly hanging over my head. And then Mark, my manager, a man who always seemed to prefer the path of least resistance, called me into his office. I walked in expecting a hearty congratulations, a roadmap to my new elevated position. Instead, he started talking about negative feedback. My performance! My performance! The woman who just delivered a miracle for this company. I was stunned. Who are these people? I practically yelled. I've done a great job. I literally just pulled off the biggest project this company has seen in years. I listed every achievement, every late night, every problem I'd solved. It was undeniable. It was factual. And Mark just looked at me with those weary, evasive eyes. Yes, Amanda, you've done some good work, but I think we need to focus on improving your leadership and communication skills. I need you to create a plan. A plan? To improve after giving them everything? I walked out of that office feeling like I just stepped into a parallel universe where up was down and hard work was a liability. I was confused, hurt, and honestly, a little angry. I couldn't just accept this vague dismissal. I needed answers. I needed to fix this perception, as they so carefully called it. So, I did what anyone would do. I reached out to the people who supposedly had this feedback. I sent polite emails, asking for a quick chat, hoping for honest, constructive criticism. I waited a week. Nothing. 2 weeks? Crickets. The silence was louder than any accusation. I tried again, a gentle follow-up. And that's when the true ice bath began. The new VP, Sarah, called me directly, not to discuss my promotion, not to praise my efforts, but to deliver a chilling message. Amanda, she said, her voice perfectly calm, perfectly devoid of warmth. "I understand you've been contacting employees about feedback. That won't be necessary. These employees are busy. They don't have time to deal with it. You just need to focus on your plan." Don't have time to deal with it. That was it. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about improvement. This wasn't about my performance. This was about something much darker. I was being sidelined, silenced, and I was trapped. The air in the office grew colder around me. People started avoiding my gaze. Hushed conversations died the moment I walked into a room. I was suddenly an outcast, an inconvenient truth in their carefully constructed narrative. And then, about a month later, Mark called me back into his office. Then Mark scheduled a 1-1. My heart leapt. Maybe they'd finally noticed everything I'd done. Spoiler, they had, just not the way I hoped. "Amanda," he said, nervously clearing his throat, "about your compensation." For a split second, a tiny spark of hope flickered. Maybe they realized. Maybe they were going to give me the raise I deserved after all. "We're not going to be able to approve a raise for you this year," he mumbled, refusing to meet my eyes. "Given the feedback in your ongoing development areas, it's not something we can justify right now." I sat there, dumbfounded. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. My 70-hour weeks? The sacrificed weekends? The successful launch? All of it erased, invalidated. I was being punished for working too hard, for being too good, for making them look good. It was beyond cruel. It was a calculated insult. I walked out of that meeting in a daze. My loyalty, my dedication, felt like a joke. They wanted me to quit. They were trying to break me. But I'm stubborn, and I'm a fighter. I started looking for other jobs, aggressively this time. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction. But the fire was gone. The joy in my work extinguished. I was just going through the motions, a ghost in the office I used to call home. The 70-hour weeks were a distant, painful memory. Now I barely dragged myself in for 40. And then, the final, undeniable proof. I saw them. 2 new faces, young, eager, sitting with Mark, and he was pointing at my project plans. With Jake focusing on client-facing communications, Mark was saying, and Lisa handling internal team coordination, we should see some great synergy here. 2 people, 2, to do my job. The job they said I wasn't keeping up with. The job I was apparently a poor communicator and bad leader in. The hypocrisy, the sheer audacity was breathtaking. I felt this cold, hard knot form in my stomach. It wasn't just an insult, it was a blueprint of their deception. I knew then what was coming. It was just a matter of time. And sure enough, the call came. The sterile conference room, Mark looking like he wanted to disappear under the table, and Chloe from HR, her face a mask of practiced neutrality, reading from a pre-written script. "Amanda, we've decided to move in a different direction. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately." I didn't react. I just looked at them, my face carefully blank. "So," I said, my voice calm, almost detached. "After working 70-hour weeks, delivering a major product launch, being denied a raise, and seeing my position filled by 2 new hires, I'm now being fired for not keeping up? Is that the official narrative you'll be circulating?" Chloe gave me that polite corporate smile. Mark wouldn't meet my eyes. "The decision," Chloe said, "is based on a comprehensive review of your performance and the company's strategic needs." "Comprehensive review," I repeated. Does that include the sacrifices, the exhaustion? Or is that just erased because it doesn't fit the convenient story that I wasn't performing? They just looked at me. No answers, no remorse, just the finality of it all. I looked at Mark one last time, the man I'd worked with for years. "Mark," I said, my voice low, filled with disappointment. "After everything, you're just going to sit there and let this happen? You saw what I did. You know the truth." He mumbled something about company decision. The coward. I stood up, didn't sign their ridiculous severance agreement. I just picked up my purse, gathered the few personal items from my desk, a framed photo of my team, a silly desk toy, and walked out. Out of the office that had stolen months of my life, my energy, my belief in fairness. They watched me go. The same people who had praised me, who had benefited from my labor. Silent, afraid, because that's how these toxic places operate. Walking out of that building, holding that box of my dismantled life, felt heavy, but also strangely light. Like I'd finally shed a burden I hadn't realized was crushing me. They tried to break me, to make me doubt my worth. They traded my loyalty for a convenient scapegoat. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. There's nowhere to go but up. Getting fired, in the most dishonest, disrespectful way possible, was the catalyst I needed. It ripped off the blinders. It showed me the true colors of that place and of the people in it. This isn't just my story. It's the story of so many people who give their all only to be undervalued, replaced, and blamed. But for me, it was a brutal awakening, a painful lesson that loyalty in a corporation is often a one-way street. And now? Well, now I'm back. Not broken, but tougher, wiser. And I'm looking for a place where hard work is actually rewarded, where I'm not just a cog in a machine easily replaced by two other cogs. Because sometimes the greatest act of leadership isn't just about fighting on. It's about knowing when to walk away from a battle that was never yours to win and finding a new fight on your own terms. This isn't an ending. It's just the beginning of my next chapter. And this time, I'm writing it. As the office doors closed behind me, the sunrise hit the glass. I realized I wasn't leaving failure. I was walking toward freedom.